I appreciate it. No, no. Thank you, appreciate it. Sorry about that. Hopefully, if you can't hear us, please put it in the comment section. We're looking at it, but we should be good to go. Even we had some fans stop his.
That's funny.
That was funny.
That's funny.
But anyway, no. If I'm Spags, what I'm looking at is trying to put something together that's not only going to slow down, because I don't think he's going to stop Saquon. I think he's going to get his yards. I think he's going to, I think he's going to have his chunk yardage, and I think he's going to make some big plays today. But limit everything that you can within those 20s.
Yeah.
Chiefs are known, they don't have a problem getting up those big play yards, but once you get into the red zone, I think that's when we really start to see the work that's back us. And look, and if Philly's going to do anything, I think it's going to be in the first quarter. You're obviously not going to put a knockout punch in the first quarter, but we've seen Spags make adjustments at the end of the opening quarter and make his adjustments. And then next thing you know, you look up, and they go into the fourth quarter, and the opposing team only has like 13 points in the game.
I think if I'm Steve Spagnuolo, I'm definitely clogging up the box. I mean, he's been known to leave his guys on that island on the outside, right? You got the Trent McDuffies. Good thing you got Jalen Watson back. He's going to be full strength. So even if these guys are a little, I mean, because the NFL season is a long season, right? So nobody's fully, we can't say 100% healthy. Everybody has their dings, bumps and dings and things like that. But I feel like leaving those guys on the outside and clogging up the box, clogging up the lane, I think that is where you're going to be able to make your money.
We're live inside the Caesars Superdome, where we are just a little over 80 minutes away, just about 80 minutes away from kickoff between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. Of course, what the Chiefs are going for, they're going for a record three in a row, where no team in the history of the NFL during the Super Bowl era has even gotten to the point where they can even attempt a three-peat. So the Chiefs have made it further than any team that has won back-to-back Super Bowls, and the fact that they are here, that's already history within itself. But offensively for Kansas City, when we look at what they've done over the last couple of weeks, what do you expect from Matt Nagy and Andy Reid, especially against a fast, speedy, young defense that's led by Jalen Carter?
Man,
You weren't expecting that question.
no, I wasn't, because here's the thing about, I think, Andy Reid's offense. We all know, and people make a big deal about Andy Reid in his when he's off the bye, right, coming off of a bye week. And if you really dig deep into it, Andy Reid is. I look at the Eagles are really coaching staff and the head coaches. They're understudy of Andy Reid.
Yeah.
They come from the Andy Reid tree, so I don't feel like they're going to be able to throw anything at Coach Reid that he's not used to. Right? I think the big thing about the offense, I feel like if Patrick Mahomes does Patrick Mahomes things, and we talk about it, I said this to someone else, I think it was yesterday or the day before. Patrick Mahomes has to show the Patrick Mahomes magic. He can't. You can't drive down the field and get in between the 20s in the red zone and have stalls, have drive killers. You've got to be able to,
like turnovers, like fumbling the football.
or no, that, or just getting stopped, like threw it out on when you get into the red zone. I don't think you can't afford that. And I think if you're able to limit that and do everything that you need, because look, we've seen Patrick Mahomes come out and all on fire. He's 10 yards Travis Kelce, 15 yards to Xavier Worthy, end around to Xavier Worthy, Kareem Hunt run, Pacheco gets a good run. Then you end up in the red zone, and it's like, oh, we're too close. What do we do now? And I think you kind of overthink it a little bit. So I really believe if they're able to do what they need to do and get inside the red zone and punch it into the end zone, I think they'll be fine.
How much do you see Isaiah Pacheco playing a role in today's game? Because we saw him against Houston, and the first 7 plays he was involved in 4 of them. Didn't have a good showing. Chiefs fans were really disappointed in his performance. Yeah. And in the Buffalo game, he played some, but it was more lenient on Kareem Hunt. Do you see the Chiefs depending on how Philly's able to handle their offense, do you see them leaning more on Pacheco or more on Hunt in
I
today's
think
game?
you've got to hit him with the 1-2 punch. It's definitely a difference in personnel. Kareem Hunt is the punch him in the mouth. Isaiah Pacheco is that a little bit, but he's more of a speed running back, right? He's also able to both of them catch the ball out the backfield. But just watching Kareem, I went back and watched a few of the Isaiah Pacheco plays. You know the short passes in the flat where he drops those. I think it's just a timing thing. Like he was off a lot of time,
Yeah.
right? We talked about the Chiefs being off just 3 weeks, and now they have a timing issue, right? So imagine being off 6 weeks,
Yeah.
7 weeks, and so I think that was a little bit of he just trying to get his legs under. Will he tell us that? No, but just going back and looking at it, I don't feel like he's still injured. I think it's just he had to get his legs under him. I mean, the NFL is, and I like to know what you think, but I just, from what I've seen, and I'm just going off the eye test, it just doesn't have, he didn't have his legs under him.
I would agree with that. I mean, I would
Yeah,
agree, but that if we're being real, there were certain times, especially in the last 2 weeks, that it seemed like he had the Clyde Edwards-Helaire syndrome, where instead of running to the open hole, he was running up behind. He was
yeah,
really running up behind the offensive lineman, and you didn't see any movement or any traction gain running the football. And again, I mean that's something that you worry about because again, you don't know if not saying he's got any type of yips or anything, but it's
yeah.
just trying to figure out what that issue is. Um,
It's timing. I think it's just
I do
off.
want to. I do want to go back with the offense and the speediness and the youth of that defense. And look, they're led by a couple of Georgia boys, Noah Smith at the linebacker, Jalen Carter up front. And while this is their first Super Bowl, they've played and won 2 national championships with the University of Georgia. So they know about playing at a high level. How do you see them faring against the offensive line for the Kansas City Chiefs? We know that Joe Tooney is going to be starting the left tackle.
Yeah.
You got Mike Kelly there. I was asked this morning if there is a weak link on the Chiefs offensively, where would it be? I would say that's it right there, and that where is we can see probably Jalen Carter lining up a number of times
Okay.
in today's game to
Okay.
get after the Chiefs and to try to stall their offense.
I can agree with
Your
that. If you're
thoughts?
looking at a weak point, I would say that's the spot. Um, I would definitely say that that's the spot. But I do believe that moving Tony over has definitely helped. I mean, you also have DJ Humphrey, right? Who's
He's
gonna
healthy.
be healthy and
He's
ready to
healthy.
play. So if push comes to shove and they see, because I mean, there's no more games this season. So if you see they're getting pushed there, slide Tony back over and throw in DJ Humphrey.
That's a good point that I was going to get you eventually, but you actually said it.
Yeah,
There is no tomorrow. So there was talk throughout the season that Kansas City was saving a lot of stuff for the playoffs. And I'm like, hey, you really don't want to take the time chance. And then when the playoffs started, now they're just saving it for the NFC Championship game in case they're playing Buffalo or in
yeah.
case they're playing Baltimore. Now you're at the Super Bowl. There really isn't really. I mean, I don't know. Andy, knowing Andy, of course, he probably will have some up his sleeve as relates. And we do see Patrick Mahomes leading the Kansas City Chiefs out, and the Philly Bluebirds are loud, aren't they?
Yeah,
Looks like they ain't even packed yet.
no. Philadelphia Eagles definitely have a lot of
A
fans here.
sizable advantage.
A lot of fans here. A lot of
Which
fans
is going to be
here.
interesting, of course, when they do the national anthem to see
Yeah.
how loud the home of the Chiefs part comes. But looking at this, I mean, there is no tomorrow. So, Andy Reid, one of the things that that a lot of fans have been wondering, didn't really see, especially against Houston. We saw maybe pick up some
Yeah.
against Buffalo, but the production of Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, do you see? I mean, obviously Travis Kelce is Travis Kelce, but and Xavier Worthy has seen his plate, get more and more, being fed more and more. Do you see a scenario in today's game where Patrick is really just spreading everybody around? Because for me, I think you have to, because you got to keep this defense honest, and also I think that Patrick has to attack those cornerbacks with those speed out, those speedy wide receivers in Brown and Worthy to keep them on their toes. So then that way you keep them honest in case you throw it down the field. And if he does throw it down, he's got to be accurate. But
Yeah.
also got to throw it down the field so you can have the underneath open up for someone like D Hop and Travis Kelsey and Noah Gray.
Yeah, I don't think the Eagles have seen the team quite like the Chiefs. If you look up and down this roster, you have, let's just say at any given time, you have Travis Kelsey, DeAndre Hopkins, Xavier Worthy, either Kareem Hunt or Isaiah Pacheco out there at any given time, right? And you could throw in a Justin Watson or somewhere like that. All weapons. So Hollywood Brown able to stretch the field, Xavier Worthy able to stretch the field, D Hop over the middle, Juju Smith-Schuster has come alive. It's they're going to have all hands on deck. I'm talking Philadelphia defense because you don't know the little wrinkles and things that Andy Reid, because Andy Reid will show you one thing and then go in the opposite direction, right?
He sure will.
Yeah. So I think they have to be on their toes. And look, if they're able to I don't think Andy Reid's going to be out coached. I think that's one of the things that he definitely prides himself on is not being out coached, especially by understudy. I just don't see that happen. Do you? I mean, do you see? Because I mean, you always get where the Mr. Miyagi method, the student becomes a teacher.
Yeah.
I don't think we're at that point right now.
No, and I mean, if that would have been the case, I would have seen. I think Buffalo's coach would have, would been more successful against Kansas City.
Yeah.
Sirianni, no, but generally, I always say, if you beat a team, it's much easier for the team that lost to make the adjustments.
Yeah.
Because they had to figure out what they did wrong versus a team who won. I mean, granted, look, and it came down to the end, and it came down to Harrison Butker field goals, that were successful.
But this is a totally different team than what they had back there.
Well, I agree, and both teams are actually. I mean, both teams are different. Obviously, with the addition of Saquon and then the youthfulness of what you got on the defense side of football for the Eagles.
I mean, but they still had Dallas Goedert. They still had AJ Brown.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I'm saying with the additions, like Saquon wasn't there 2 years ago, and most of those defensive players that's on the Eagles defense are 2 years or younger. You know what I'm saying? They weren't on the team. Whereas in Kansas City, obviously the majority of the players are still there versus, the free agents that they brought in and the rookies. And so I do want to ask that, because we were in the press box and Jeff Chadia of the NFL Network was saying that while he's picking Kansas City to win, and maybe that's so he doesn't get Salzburg down and back home. But one thing he said was roster that they were a better 53-man roster. Do you agree? I mean, because look, we talk about the number of Hall of Famers that's potential on this team. It's hard for me to think that they actually have a better roster, 53-man roster than Kansas City, and even the starting lineup versus Kansas City.
Well, let's just go down. We got time. Let's just go down the depth chart. Let's look at Let's start at wide receiver. Xavier Worthy, wide receiver 1, versus AJ Brown. I would say AJ Brown has the edge.
AJ Brown.
Left tackle Joe Tooney, Jordan Mailata.
I call that even.
Even, okay. Mike Caliendo, Landon Dickerson.
I'll go Dickerson just because we have Eagles coming back out there on the field.
Yeah. Then you got Creed Humphreys, Cam Jurgens. Okay. Trey Smith, Mekhi Becton.
It would be tough, but I'm going to go with Trey on that one.
Juwan Taylor, Lane Johnson.
Lane Johnson.
Yeah. Travis Kelsey, Dallas Goedert.
Kelsey all day.
Mahomes. Okay.
Mahomes.
Then you got Isaiah Pacheco, Saquon Barkley. Saquon, okay. Carson Steele. Who's their backup running back? Kenneth Gainwell.
Steele.
Okay. DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Smith.
D-Hop.
Just look, the eye test, it will tell you that's pretty even.
Yeah.
Just right there. And I mean, you look at the backups, there's no player on this Eagles offense as a backup that can compare with Hollywood Brown.
Or DJ Humphreys.
Or Kareem Hunt. Think about that, man. Or Justin. I mean, I'm looking at it and I just don't see it. I mean, you tell me, but I don't see.
No, I'm with you.
I don't see where where you definitely would say, all right, this is just so much better of an offense. I mean, if anything, it's pretty even.
Yeah, and I was on the defensive side of football. You got Jalen Carter, but I'm gonna take Chris Jones over him all day, every day.
Yeah,
George Karlaftis and Nolan Smith, I got to give it to George.
yeah,
Nolan Smith, he's going to be tough eventually, but right now I still got to give that edge to him. And look, I mean Darius Slade, Trent McDuffie, Quingon Mitchell, Jalen Watson. To me, that's a draw. That's a draw. I mean, both and if I got to go safety, C.J. Gardner, Johnson, Justin Reed, that's a draw there. I mean, it's just
yeah. That's funny.
going against it. Now, look, technically the Chiefs are considered the road team here. So,
Yeah.
but the fact that when
It's
they come
interesting,
out,
man.
they're getting booed the way they are. Listen to and look, we know Petty Pat. Pat is going to feed off of this. You know what I'm saying? Now you hope it doesn't have an adverse effect on his play.
Yeah.
But definitely interested in that. Look, we're live from inside the Caesars Superdome. The Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl 59, taking on the Philadelphia Eagles, a rematch of Super Bowl 57, where Kansas City Chiefs won 30, 38 to 35. That game took place in Phoenix, Arizona. Of course, we're live inside the Superdome here in New Orleans, Louisiana. Steve, let's dive into X factors for today's game, especially when it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, no, 'cause we're going to do something different. We're going to do the Super Bowl version of this. So if you are the Philadelphia Eagles, what's your X factor offensively for you to win this game against the Chiefs?
Saquon Barkley. I mean, no, I'm gonna take that back. I'm gonna take that back because it has to. What I'm gonna say is gonna feed into my X factor for the Chiefs defense. I think it has to be Jalen Hurts because you know that the Chiefs defense. What are you supposed to do if you're defending a team, right? Take away what they do well. You're gonna have to take away Saquon Barkley. So what's going to be your counter if I'm the Philadelphia Eagles offense? If they take away Saquon Barkley, what's my counter? It has to be Jalen Hurts. So I think they're my X factor for the Eagles offense is Jalen Hurts.
There you man, that's where that chess, where those moving chess pieces come into play. Because to your point, and I'll give you my X factor in a second, but to your point, if you're the Philadelphia Eagles,
Yeah.
you know that their game plan is to try to stop Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
So you're going to try to counter that. Well, if you stash, you know that they know that you're going to try to do that.
Yeah.
So if you do that, what's your backup? Because one of the things I talked about this morning on the Spaces was that if you're the Eagles, you know that they're going to be trying to stop Saquon Barkley. But if you're Kansas City, you're going to be spending a lot of focus on that. But you cannot forget that Jalen Hurts can run that football too.
Okay.
I mean, because what he did in the NFC title game, where he, against Washington, look, the defensive coordinator said that week that they're going to treat him like a running back.
Yeah.
Jalen said, okay, and like a running back, he ran for 3 touchdowns, and I think he had the opening drive. I think he ran for like a 44-yard touchdown run.
Yeah.
So you can try to shut down or at least try to contain Barkley, but at what cost will it be to Jalen and his legs?
I think.
I mean,
I think
that's
they're
open into question, but
I think they're going to kind of go hand in hand. I mean, same thing you did with Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry early on in the season. You got a taste of it. Right?
that's a real good point.
Yeah.
For me, X factor kind of ties into what you said, but I got to go with the offensive line of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay.
And I said it because you on that end you got to set the tone because and again, trying to open up holes is one thing. Most offensive lines love to try to run, because they want to establish a dominance.
Yeah.
But for me, it's not even about Saquon. It's going to be about protecting Jalen Hurts.
Right.
Because if you can't stop Chris Jones or Karlaftis or Charles, and look, we haven't got to the defense part for the Chiefs, but Charles Omenihu playing in his first Super Bowl after being out last year because of the torn ACL suffered against Baltimore in the AFC Championship game. If you can't stop that rush where they can collapse and get hits on Jalen and somehow keep Saquon from breaking out to the outside or breaking in between the lines, it could be a long day for the Eagles that.
I agree. I mean, I think You that offensive line, man. They talk about people been talking about their size all year. Just the size of their offensive line. I think going matching up against the defensive line is definitely going to be a test.
What about your X factor defensively for the Eagles? How do they? Who's the X factor there that's going to try to put up one career to Patrick Mahomes and his Chiefs offense?
I mean, it's gonna be interesting, man. Like I said, they have the Chiefs and Mahomes. They have some weapons, man. And don't forget, you talked about Jalen Hurts being able to use his legs. Pat can use his legs too. So I think that's another threat that they have to worry about. You can take away guys. You can lock up down the field. But what happens when Pat gets out there and starts running, and then does the little flip over? That that's kind of unguardable if you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, because you have to at some point you're going to have to release your guy and come up and make the tackle. So I think you got the Eagles defense has to definitely be disciplined. Um, but I'd say the Eagles defensive line. You got to get after Patrick Mahomes. You got to figure out a way to put him on the ground.
My X factor. Not to be. It's funny because the type of defense that they run is strange. Their defense is, they run essentially five defensive linemen, but linebackers for them. And I say that because if you try to run man, your Chiefs are going to try to get you with the speed on the outside.
Yeah.
If you run the zone, then you got to worry about Travis Kelce, especially Travis Kelce, but Travis Kelce and Diop underneath the middle, and Travis will be able to find his way. He'll be able to find his little wiggle room within the defense. And to be quite honest, if that's the case, it could be a long day. So I think Vic Fangio again. This is going to be interesting for me because I'm going to be looking at this game from a whole different perspective because I'm going to be looking at it and we see Chris Jones addressing the team right now on the field. It's just one thing that to me, when I see it, I'm looking at the chess matches, man, between these defensive coordinators, man, and just how. And
Yeah.
I just wish I had a name shirt, man, because I mean, I don't know, man. But for me, my X factor is going to be them because they're going to have to keep Travis Kelce and contain him so he doesn't have a big game. Because if Travis Kelce has a big game, that's the ball game.
Yeah.
Because there are certain players on each team that they'll be able to feed off of. Chief Keenan will feed off of Kelce, and Kelce's able to make a big play, especially on third down, where he can extend the drives and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, he'd do his thing or whatever. Boom. On the defense side of football, of course, if you're Chris Jones, or, if Chris Jones is able to get a sack or something, that'll kind of rile the Chiefs Kingdom up, the fans that are here as well. Now the one thing, X factor for you offensively for Kansas City to win today's game.
Man, it's Patrick Mahomes. I think I talked about I'm not going away from what I said earlier about the magic of Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
I think he has to show the Patrick Mahomes magic and accurately distribute the football. I think if he's able to do that, it's going to be a long day for the Eagles defense because you can clearly see other quarterbacks get frustrated when Pat's having a day.
Yeah.
And the other quarterback, we've seen it happen to Joe Burrow. We've seen it happen to Lamar Jackson. We've seen all these other quarterbacks who, in the hierarchy in the tier of QBs.
The championship game. I mean, we saw Josh Allen sitting on the sideline just like,
yeah. I mean,
he knew what time it was.
When you have Pat rolling and this offense starts rolling, and because when they get rolling, they rolling.
Yeah.
And they tough to stop. So I think just the accuracy of Patrick has to come through.
For the first time all season, Steve, I got to go with Pat as well. Now, it's a Pat / Andy Nagy, and I've kind of gone, the play call in the last couple of weeks. But I still think it holds true today.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. I mean, this is the biggest game of the year. This is the last game of the year. They aren't practicing tomorrow.
Right.
how deep into your playbook, if you Andy Reid, are you gonna
Oh,
go?
you deep in there. You there? It's
That's what I'm saying. I
you
mean,
deep.
we saw in Miami. He went to the 1948 Rose Bowl. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? To,
yeah,
to give him a touchdown. The biggest key for me, and you hit it, and I've talked about it week in and week out. We've got to see just how accurate Patrick is going to be. Now, according to the pool reports, now granted, you know what I'm saying, one like they were full pass or anything, but according to the pool reports, Patrick, I think, may have only had one incompletion, and I think in yesterday or Friday's practice, he was perfect. I don't expect him to be perfect in this game. But as we saw in last week's game, they, it's funny. We talked about it on the red eye, talked about it all week or whatever, and I heard Nick Wright mirror everything that I had said on First Things First on Friday. Kansas City should have blown out Buffalo.
yeah,
I will take that because you and I, we were in there. They were up 7-3. They drove down. They were in the red zone that you talked about,
yeah.
and they had a turnover. Instead of it being 14-3, Patrick turned the football over, fumbled the football. Whether it was a miscommunication between he and Isaiah Pacheco, the ball was lost. A fumble was lost. Buffalo, they gained possession. Started next quarter, they scored a touchdown. They're up 10-3. I mean
Yeah.
10-7. Instead of it being a 14-3 ball game where Kansas City could have blown the game wide open and perhaps had a blowout win, it goes down to the wire.
Right.
Can't have those type of mental mistakes. Now I don't know whether it's the play calling, miscommunication. That's what you cannot have from your leader
Yeah, I agree.
if you're Patrick Mahomes. And if Patrick Mahomes is going to throw the ball deep, he has to be accurate. Obviously, the one thing that the Eagles can do, and they've shown that they've been able to do, is punch the football out and
Yeah,
create turnovers.
yeah.
Kansas City has to make sure they don't do that or put themselves in situations, you know what I'm saying, where, so, again, obviously that goes for all the players, but Patrick is going to have the ball in his hands more than anybody on offense. So you've got to make sure that you're careful with the football and that any type of big play that you make, just be accurate. And look, and if by chance you overthrow or it's an incompletion, hopefully is veered out of bounds
Yeah,
versus in the
100%.
middle of the field, something like that.
I agree 100%.
Defensively, your X factor for
For
the
the,
Chiefs to win this game.
you got to make sure that you contain Saquon Barkley. I mean, holding Saquon Barkley under, I would say, under 100 yards, you fair a good chance to win this
Rushing
football
and
game.
receiving.
Yeah, under 100 yards, I would say you fair a good chance to win this football game. If the Chiefs offense, and it's kind of going to go with the Chiefs offense too, if they're up early, they're not going to be able they're not going to be able to have just continue to run and run and run, Saquon Barkley, right? So I think you got to stop Saquon Barkley, man. Cut off the head of the snake. Allow
It's said and
Jalen
done.
Hurts to beat you. If he beats you, then there's no opportunity to win this game. But limit the runs for Saquon Barkley.
Defensively, a max factor. I think I'm gonna go with our corners, and the reason why I think Spags will do what he can, with those with that front four and putting pressure in and at least trying to close those gaps up
Yeah,
so Saquon can't run wild. And
yeah,
if by chance he gets to the outside, then I expect our corners, who are great tackles, to be able to do it. But my thing is, if you're able to limit Saquon, that means you're going to be forced
oh yeah,
to have Jalen beat you with his arms.
oh yeah,
This is going to be an opportunity because Jalen is not an excellent passer. So you have an opportunity if you're Watson or if you're McDuffie
yeah,
to possibly get an interception and make a big play
yeah.
and give the offense an extra possession where they can do something with it. And also, I think if the option presents itself, I expect at least one big hit from Justin Reed.
Huh.
It's whether it's to Saquon or it's to Jalen Hurts. I expect at least one big hit
Okay,
in this game from Justin Reed.
okay, I agree.
Now, one thing we haven't had a chance to talk about really is special teams. And
Yeah,
what have you seen? Because I know you've had a chance throughout the season to talk to Matt Ariza. I've had many chances to talk to Harrison Bucket, but your thoughts on because You generally say that if the punter's out there a lot, and
Yeah,
that,
it's just
but
not going
but
well.
but but we've seen what he's been able to do if the Chiefs somehow don't get a chance to put the ball in the end zone. I think in practice, they said he kicked an 80-yard punt this week. So I mean, obviously, field position when it comes to what he can do, he's been a great addition to this team. And then also, I think minus one field goal that Harrison Bucker missed in the playoffs so far, he's been pretty on point and pretty accurate when it comes. So if it comes down to special teams, how do you feel the Chiefs will fare?
I think it's going to be had to be led up by Nico Remigio.
Mm.
In Super Bowls, we've seen a huge punt return from. In the last few Super Bowls, we've
Scott
seen
more a
some
couple
kind
years
of
ago.
Kadarius Tony.
Kadarius
But
Toney, yeah.
yeah, so I think it has Nico Remigio has to come through. Yeah, yeah. You see the Eagles leaving the field. It's gonna be interesting, this crowd, man. I'm wondering, what the numbers are gonna be like. I think the edge may go to Philly for crowd noise.
Yeah. We're live inside the Superdome, and again, Philly is the home team. They are definitely outnumbering Kansas City. I'm not gonna say 2-1, uh, they're definitely outweighing the number of Chiefs fans that are here in today's game. And look, where we're sitting at, we're on the 50-yard line, but we're up a level, opposite of Kansas City sideline, so we'll be able to see everything that's going on their sideline. We're on the home side of the Philadelphia Eagles in today's game, and so um, we don't really talk about much about Eagles and their special teams. So we'll see. We'll see what takes. They're actually going to be getting started with the pregame stuff. So Steve, everybody wants to know. I'm curious as well. But sometimes you've gone against Kansas City with your
Only
predictions.
one time this year.
Or twice, but
Well, twice. Yeah.
not a few count. Super Bowl 59. Rematch of Super Bowl 57. Kansas City won 38-35. Everybody talked about how Kansas City didn't score more than 30 points a season than last week.
Yeah.
They scored 32 to beat the Bills 32-29. Now, I've always said Kansas City will score enough points to win the ball game.
Yeah.
Your thoughts, your final thoughts, Super Bowl 59. This is our final show when it comes to the pregame. Give us your prediction, your score prediction for today's game, including the winner.
This may surprise you, but I think it's going to kind of be a lopsided game.
Huh?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think.
you're right. That is surprising.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs are going to come out here and my gut is telling me that they're going to come out here and fire off on this Eagles team. I mean, you're here. You got no games left. You got to
You got
give it
one
all.
job to do.
You got to give it all you got if you want to. The three-peat is there for you to go get it. I mean, you've got to come out here and make sure that you don't have any mistakes. And I'm just talking from the Chiefs side of things. If they can play mistake-free football, they're gonna win the game. I mean, I got the Chiefs winning, but just by how much? A couple of boxes to check. I think one is get the ball first. Win the coin toss.
But you don't do with the contract. They're going to defer. That's just what they do.
Right. But I'm talking. Well, win the coin toss and be able to double up going at halftime and then come back at halftime. We've seen it time and time again when they're able to do that. I wonder what the percentage is on it. I'm sure somebody has it, but I would like to say it's in the higher 80% range.
Well, the last two times the Chiefs had it in the playoffs, they've stalled coming out the second half.
Yeah.
And of course, halftime with the system's going to be about 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So, that's going to be an issue there.
Yeah. I agree, but I think I got the Chiefs winning. How about you?
Well, you still even put out the score because I'm still sitting back with this.
It's a race to 30. I got the Chiefs 34-19.
34-19.
Yep.
Interesting. That's definitely over. I've got the over. I've got the Chiefs. I got a much closer game. I said it because the Chiefs just don't blow teams out. I mean, well, what we expected 2 weeks ago, I expected that to be a difference maker. But they put themselves in a situation where now we got a damn ball game.
Yeah.
I've said all week I have Kansas City winning 35-31.
Yeah.
And the reason why, but I think Kansas City really has a 35-24 lead, and Philly just back, and it's not even back to a cover because it's only 1.5. But I just think they score late in the game, to keep the score a little bit more, more respected. But look, and it's not to say the Spags and St. Joe aren't going to do a good job. I think they will. But I really just think both teams' offense are just too good to
Yeah.
where you can't keep them out of the end zone. I think Saquon is going to get it. I think he's going to get his yards. But I think it's just going to come, just throughout the momentum of the game. I don't think he's going to, run off one big chunk, 99 yards, and then, I just don't think that's going to happen. But Kansas
Yeah.
City offensively, I think that they're going to be able to show what they didn't really do against Buffalo, and that's run up and down the field. So I got them winning 35-31, and the Chiefs to be three-time Super Bowl champions in a row. Steve, before we get out of here, because they are setting up for pregame, let our audience know your sponsors, who suited you before we get out of here.
I appreciate everybody that supported this year, especially Dealers on the Rosa. Make sure you go check them out. They're up at the Legends. Dealers on the Rosa. Go talk to Jeff. You can talk to Heather in the men's department. Go check them out. They have everything that you need. Make sure that your game day is as tight as mine.
And thank you for those for taking care of my guy, Steve Walls. I want to thank Todd White and Todd Clothiers and Taylor Suits for getting, my Super Bowl suit together and making sure it looked nice every game of the season. I also want to thank Chad Johnson and Akana Group for taking care of my airfare throughout the year, being my airline sponsor. Also want to thank Gates Barbecue. Again, 5 locations around the metro area. Hopefully, you all have put your orders in and got some of that good Gates for your pregame meal as we get ready to kick off within the hour. And then, of course, I also want to thank Thaler Cherry and Cherry Company as well. Look, we're going to take a couple days after today. We'll have the Red Hour with myself, Steve Walls, Sean Tyler, and DJ Q. We'll recap today's game. Obviously, depending on if the Chiefs win or not, there will be. Is that James? No, that's not James. Look at James. The parade will either be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, weather permitting. And there's so much that we look forward to. But we will bring you post game coverage in the locker room and Andy Reid and all the good stuff. So for Steve Walls, who you can follow at Steve Walls KC, I'm Darren Smith at Darren Smith NFL. I want to thank you so much for joining us this season for the pregame cheat sheet, and we'll see you again next year. We out. Go Chiefs.